Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to be working with Grafix Arts, and we'll be working with their matte stencil film and their white printable shrink plastic. This is the first time I'm using their products, so you get to learn right along with me. We're going to be creating a graffiti-inspired canvas zipper bag to use for your art supplies, your journaling supplies, or whatever else you decide to use it for. The matte stencil film is so easy to work with. It cuts easily with your electronic cutters, or you can cut it by hand with scissors or an X-Acto blade. I like to work quickly, so I use my Silhouette Cameo to cut the stencils that I'm going to be using here. The stencil film is very flexible, and you can use it on just about anything, even if it's got a curve to it. You saw how easily it peeled off my cutting mat, ready to use over and over again. I found some great images online that worked perfectly for that street art look I was going for to cut my stencils. The great thing about cutting your own stencils is that you can also get the masks to use for a reverse stencil effect. I did use graffiti style font to cut the main stencil and some bricks because to me graffiti belongs on a brick wall. I'll provide a link to all the images in the description box below. I am using regular acrylic paint for this entire project. This next part, I used regular household spray paint and sprayed the bricks in a well-ventilated area and then waited until it was completely dry before I brought it back in the house because the stencil film is transparent, you can place it in the exact location that you want it before you actually commit to the paint. And the star of the show is this stencil that I cut using a graffiti style font. I wanted a worn look, so I used a thin coat of white gesso. And while that was drying, I did some hot pink paint splatters because no project of mine is complete without that. And then I decided it needed a little more dimension, so I offset the stencil a little bit to the right and used a paint marker just to give it a little bit of a drop shadow. Creating the charms was probably the easiest part of this. I just threw the white stencil film into my inkjet printer and printed off the image that I wanted to use, and I did it twice just in case I messed up. You can see how vibrant the stencil film prints. You have to remember that your images are going to shrink to about 20% of the original size. So I just used a different punch to cut different sizes of hearts and circles, and then you definitely want to punch the hole before you shrink your plastic. Otherwise, you're never going to get a jump ring in there. So once that's done, I put it in the oven and I let it bake. And here you can see how small they shrunk to, which is perfect for charms. Now we're just attaching the charms using some basic jump rings from my jewelry findings. And I want them to kind of be at different lengths on the zipper pull. So I did a couple jump rings on one on the other, and just attached it. And I needed a little bit more flair, so I did attach a little tassel that I had onto the zipper pull as well. And voila, a completed graffiti-inspired zipper pouch. A link to Grafix Arts will be in the description box below, as well as all of the products that I used in this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.